Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Morning Cafe. My name is Eric Munene, sitting in for Linda Alela. We have a great show lined up for you. My co-host Mudhoni Maina is already here with me. Already introduced you.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Good morning, guys. I hope that you're having a lovely Monday morning. Anyway, that weekend was really short. I don't know what's happening nowadays. The weekends are really short, and then I don't know, the weekdays are just really long.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know, maybe the weekends are just as short as I am. Since Eric unashinanga tu kinienjoy kuhusu height, so yeah, maybe that's why. But maybe you can tell us there back at home how you get to deal with Monday blues, because now that's what we are actually dealing with, and this will be such an interesting week.
Yep,
since,
it is.
We get to usher the festive season on Wednesday, December. That is.
Yeah.
December.
Okay, yeah. Admittedly, nilikuwa nimesahau. But yeah, to start us off, there's a quote that I like. Inasemanga, here's your Monday morning a reminder that you can handle anything that this week throws at you. Mudhoni is quite sleepy bado.
Hapana, nimeamka. Nimeamka. Lakini so unamkanga Monday kama umesoma inspirational quotes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You have to, especially right now. It's drizzling in most parts of the city, so you can imagine.
When I grow up, I want to be like you, but wow, that was quite inspirational there. Tuingie kwa magazeti sasa. We get to see what they're selling leo. Daily Nation. What's making headlines there is a story on Ruto's hidden hand in Oka Chiefs fallout. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi has dismissed as baseless claims that he is working with the deputy president, but his allies allege night meetings and secret talks to push him towards an alliance with the DP.
So here's the funny thing about politics. They say, especially in Kenya, there are no permanent friends or foes in politics, only interests. The ANC leader has been categorical that this time around he's not playing second fiddle to anyone. He's going all the way up. He wants to be the next commander-in-chief. But then again, there are allegations that have come up. There's this MP called Savula who said that some leaders in ANC, especially Senator of Kakamega, Senator Cleophas Malala, has been pushing, Mudavadi to work with the deputy president. This is quite interesting because they have been together. Mudavadi has worked with Ruto before. Yeah. This team. He's one of those people who formed the Pentagon back then in 2007 with Raila Odinga, Najib Balala, and the rest. So, yeah. It's quite interesting. We'll see how it gets to, turn out in a few next week. Let me say that because you see, like you're saying, we're already in December.
We're already in December. Also, what's making headlines there as well at the very top left is Kirinyaga rivalry gets ugly as Waiguru Ngerishi supporters clash at church. That story is on page 5, where some chaos were witnessed yesterday as, trouble started when the governor's supporters arrived in town and started distributing branded jackets to the residents. A rival group supporting Ms. Ngereshe snatched the campaign outfits and set them on fire, saying they were opposed to the governor's style of leadership.
This is quite worrying. I saw the reports online, and the paper here says that they were armed with crude weapons and they challenged each other. The rival groups challenged each other to a physical confrontation. There was that incident where Waiguru's effigy and his reflected jackets were banned. Quite dangerous, I must say, as we head to 2022. Politics of intolerance. I don't think this is the right way to go, but the DP tried to calm them down. Both the woman representative and the governor. He did not mention names, but he urged the leaders, the two daughters from Kirinyaga to be tolerant each other.
absolutely, and plenty is definitely going on there in Kirinyaga County. Remember, yesterday there was, that task force from the healthcare, department there in Kirinyaga County, as 375 healthcare workers are demanding the governor Waiguru to honor the PSC directives. Health workers want to be reinstated as per of the directive that was issued, seeking promotion, as they're definitely highly competent of their job. So definitely plenty is going on there in Kirinyaga County, be it in political matters. Also when it comes to the healthcare sector,
yes,
there's definitely plenty going on there, and that story is on page 5. Grab a copy of the Daily Nation for you to get more on that story.
And, we've mentioned about Mudavadi working with Ruto, a possibility of them working together. The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. It says the alliance dream to be viewed as a third force is increasingly becoming a mirage. Seems like the One Kenya alliance might split, according to the story there by Justice Ochieng and Onyango Konyango. The One Kenya alliance, the center might not hold until 2022 in August, because there's a lot of distrust. We've had some political analysts, even right here on this show, saying that KANU leader, that is Gideon Moi, is really tilting towards and very, very keen rather to work with ODM leader Raila Odinga. And on the other hand, now we are hearing reports of Mudavadi probably wanting to work with Deputy President William Ruto. So where does the future of, where does that put the future of the One Kenya alliance, that is Oka? Another principal in that alliance, that is the Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, has also stated that this time he doesn't want to be he will not play second fiddle to anyone. But it's also interesting here because yesterday Kalonzo attended a fundraiser, a church fundraiser with Wanjigi, and he told Wanjigi that because Wanjigi wants to be Jimmy Wanjigi wants to get to be nominated and fly the ODM flag as its presidential candidate. But Kalonzo and Raila have a history, so they were, he gave Wanjigi a tip. Akamwambia, what, brace yourself, this is not going to be very, very easy. Seemingly Kalonzo is saying that this is already planned out. This ticket is definitely ODM leaders Raila Odinga, so whatever it is that you're doing, brace yourself for tough times ahead.
Absolutely. And still on that issue, yesterday Kimilili MP Didmas Baraza, told the nation that without mentioning names, that 2 Oka principals have been holding talks with the DP. He said the Oka leaders who visit the DP do so for political consultations. So we'll definitely get to see what is, going on there in Oka's. The pioneers are definitely somewhat like reading from different scripts. Also on page 6, have that story on Raila tells of DP for freebies spree. That story is on page 6 as Raila lashes out at Ruto over graft in government. He faulted the DP for absconding his state duties by hitting the road in campaigns, even before delivering on Jubilee pre-election pledges.
Well, here's the funny bit. The DP has said in the past that he's not yet started campaigning. The IBC has to give now. The IBC is the referee and they have to blow the whistle officially for people to start campaigning. But the DP has said he's been going around inspecting government projects. Don't know what that means, but yeah, that's what he says. So here Raila is faulting him for dishing out money. He even said, I watched his rally in Eastlands. He compared what Ruto is giving out, allegedly giving out to the masses, with one of the leading telcos in the country, the Safaricom. He says that even Safaricom cannot, it won't be in sustainable business if it was to give out money the way the number 2 in command is doing. But this as of now, I'm going to say it's politics. It's all politics. And so we wait to see how this goes.
Absolutely. Also, now at the very front page, but at the bottom part of it, we have a shortage of teachers to persist due to exits. According to the Teachers Service Commission, between 8,000 and 10,000 teachers exit the service annually, yet the commission has over the past 5 years been allocated funds to employ only 5,000 per year. This is way below the target, which is expected of tutors per year recommended by the TSC in the strategic plan of 2019 to 2023. That story is on the back page of the Daily Nation. Plenty going on there in the education sector, as there is a persistent shortage, which is definitely a major challenge, and especially to implement the new curriculum. Also, in matters of ensuring a smooth transition, definitely plenty is brewing there in the education sector.
Well, you see, this is quite challenging, especially for the tutors, having 8,000 and 10,000 teachers exit every year, and the commission, the Teacher Service Commission, being allocated funds to employ only 5,000 per year, a serious shortage there. According to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that is UNESCO, the ratio of students or learners to teacher is 40:1, but I guess we are not anywhere near that. So quite frustrating. And still on the back page, a related story inside the TSC cartels that prey on hapless retirees for their pension. There's a story. The Nation has interviewed, they had an exclusive with a teacher called David Omondi, who was taken back and forth as he wanted to get his retirement dues from TSC, despite following the right procedure. Quite unfortunate there. Imagine working for all those years, then when it comes to getting the fruits of your labor, you're taken back and forth for 4 years.
This
Can you imagine? And you have other projects that are probably waiting for you up country. Like most retirees would prefer to do things. You can imagine 4 years you're taken back and forth. That is quite unfortunate there. Grab your copy of the Daily Nation. The story is on the back page of the paper.
Also, on the front page of the Daily Nation on page 7, there is an ordeal section there. Who wants the spy queen dead? As private detective Jane Mogo was attacked and dumped near Chingalo Forest on the Eldoret Nakuru Road in Burnt Forest last week. She says she was living in fear before the incident. That story is on page 7. It's rather unfortunate as to what happened. And, according to this, she also linked her attack to politics, as she has declared interest in the Kirinyaga women representative seat. She is linking that kidnapping to that matter, but it's rather quite unfortunate with all the abductions that have been going on countrywide in this country. It begs the question of what is going on exactly. Where are the designated security operators? In whose hands are you safe? Because anywhere that you get to go to nowadays, you just have to be really careful with, and as you get to head to various destinations, you just get to pray for your safety, because plenty is happening nowadays, and so many investigations are still ongoing on these kidnapping cases and abduction cases, which are now a worrying trend in the country because they are on the rise. I hope that there will definitely be a sit down so that the security operators can get to review and have another whole new framework to work for this country.
And that should worry all of us. Like you're asking, in whose hands are we safe? The abductions should worry all of us. But here she says, she has been receiving death threats because of a murder case that she was investigating, and she says it is linked to a police officer in Busia. The good thing, though, is that she got to negotiate with the kidnappers. She said the kidnappers actually told her that a senior police officer had asked them to come for her and her team, but she told them that all the senior officers in the country have her number, so she doubted her story as they refused to even identify themselves. Quite harrowing there, I must say. Again, like you've asked. In whose hands?
Whose hands are we safe? Still on the front page, still on that page 7, police hope insight for graduates as Inspector General Hilary Mutyambai has agreed to look into the welfare of about 1,000 graduate constables whose November pay was dramatically slashed. That story is on page 7. It's definitely some sort of relief for them, because it is hope at last for the police officers in payroll, so that they can get to fund or rather pay for some of the loans that they have, for them to also cater to their families. So definitely this should put a smile to their faces. I hope that this issue will definitely be resolved for them to have their pay on rather a relevant stand that will be able to cater for them and for their families at the end of the day.
Yes, and this is a very, very critical department. The National Police Service is a very, very critical department in as far as security is concerned. But I understand that at least now there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I also understand that President Uhuru Kenyatta today will be attending the passing out parade of 2,610 recruits. That is the National Police Training College in Embakasi, right here in Nairobi. So the list that the IG, the Inspector General of Police, Mutyambai, had asked for, the list is supposed to be submitted by today before the President, officiates that event in Embakasi. But I must say that this was quite interesting. I don't know what criteria was used here to slash some of the allowances, because I'm seeing some had been slashed by over 50%. For instance, house allowance had dropped to 9,000 shillings, all the way from 24,000 shillings. And then risk allowance was at least slashed by 2,000 shillings, because it remains at 9,000 instead of the 11,000 that they used to get. But as I've said, I don't know what criteria they have used to reach at such critical and important decisions. But I hope the IG will do something, because these are the men and women who protect us every other day. I told you last week while I was in Makueni, I saw some gallant police officers braving the heat in Makueni. It was quite hot, but they were braving it just to provide security to all the attendees of the 7th Devolution Conference in Makueni. So I hope the IG gets to do something about that.
Absolutely, and these are people who are very patriotic to this country.
Yes, they are.
Let's hope that something will be done about this matter, because you can just imagine you're very passionate about your job. You do it each and every single day, protecting the citizens of this country. And at the end of the day, no credit is given to you for your job, and that is rather quite devastating. And it definitely messes up with your mental health.
Yeah, definitely it will mess up with your mental health if you're not careful. And if probably your pleas fall on deaf ears, if you feel that your pleas are falling on deaf ears, and the job is high risk, I must add, the job is very, very high risk. They go through a lot in their day-to-day operations. So, you want to tell us what is on the Standard?
Okay, what is making headlines on the Standard is still on that political matter of Waiguru Ngirishi clash before the DP. The DP encounters deep rivalry between two leaders interested in Kirinyaga governorship. This has been foiled by the governor's recent warm reception to UDA, a move that the women rep now sees as betrayal and dishonesty. That story is on the page 4 of the Standard. There's a whole column on that story. And, William Ruto says that the youth are looking for a future and want leaders to provide solutions to their joblessness. We must say no to war, because remember, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the common wananchi. We want leaders who do focus on the economy and the development of this country, or rather the stature of the country. So as you get to go on these campaigns here and there, but they said that they're not campaigns, they're just talks with the grassroots level, so that they can get plenty of feedback from the citizens. We just hope that at the end of the day, it just comes down to the common wananchi.
Yeah, are you a government project yourself?
Who?
You. Because I found it funny that the DP said, like that picture right there on I don't know if my director can project it on the screen, but the picture on page 4, of the Standard shows the DP, in action. He's addressing residents of Kirinyaga at Kagio Center. That was yesterday. But he says that, he's not campaigning yet. He's inspecting government projects. So that's why I asked you that question. If you feel a government project,
I will not answer that.
In case you attend these rallies, they'll say they've been inspecting you. But back to Kirinyaga politics, it's quite interesting because Ngirichi now has some dalliance with the Interior PS, that is Dr. Karanja Kibicho. Dr. Karanja Kibicho seemingly is a sworn enemy of the deputy president. Now that Ngirichi now seems to be on his side, political analysts are saying probably she's almost leaving the UDA party because she was non-committal on saying what her future is. She wants to be the next governor of Kirinyaga County, but she has not yet said what she is going to do next. She's just said, watch this space. There's something that I'm contemplating, but you just watch it. When the time comes, I will tell you what my future holds. So we wait and see.
We're definitely going to wait and see on what is going to happen there. Also, what's making headlines on the Standard is how teachers medics steal from scheme. It says down there on page 14 and 15 of the Standard, crooks use impersonation, billing for services not rendered or conditions not covered under the scheme, double billing for medical expenses, and falsification of the length of stay of patients in hospital. This is rather quite worrying because it is happening in this country. As corruption, it has got to the deep roots, and it is now evident that it is in each and every sector. And it being at the health sector, this is rather quite worrying because these are people that you get to trust with your health. You get to trust that at the end of the day, they'll get to get to heal and for you to be at a better place as a person. And with that going on there, it is rather quite worrying with what is happening in the health department. So many questions there on that matter. Yeah,
and I'm seeing there are forms of fraud, the different forms of fraud, especially in hospitals. There's impersonation and identity theft, billing of services not rendered, billing for services not covered under the medical schemes, double billing of medical expenses. Someone said that in Kenya, you're one hospital bill away from being poor. They can render you poor sometimes. And it's quite sad to see that this is what has been happening. There's also the falsification of the length of stay for patients in hospital, falsification and incorrect reporting of diagnosis and procedures, and then the abnormal and impossible utilization of services. And this is quite sad. But I see we have some solutions coming our way. There's something that is being done to curb fraud, especially the use of biometric systems to ensure that only eligible members access medical care. And also the use of mobile USSD technology will help us in that, for registration and verification systems to vet membership.
Let's hope that something will definitely be done on this matter, because it is really worrying, because maybe with all those cuts that are being experienced everywhere, even within the health department, you get to see that some of these doctors have been slashed, when it comes to their salaries, and maybe it's not, I'm not justifying their actions, but maybe this is just one of the things that should be really looked into, because when this continues to go on, at the end of the day, as I've stated, the common mwananchi is the one who's going to suffer or rather pay for all of this.
Yeah, definitely. So let's have a look at what made headlines recently. The government now says that there are no plans yet to ban travelers from countries hit by the new Omicron COVID-19 variant, but border surveillance has been intensified. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, the Kenyan government has stated that there is heightened surveillance in all entry points.
The Ministry of Health, through its Principal Secretary Susan Mochache, has confirmed that the country has heightened surveillance across all entry points in a bid to combat the Omicron variant. The government, however, says there are no plans yet to ban travelers from countries hit by Omicron COVID-19 variant, but border surveillance has been intensified.
In terms of surveillance at our ports of entry, like all countries in the world, we have heightened our surveillance. And for people coming in from those countries, we are making sure that we are doing testing, the PCR test, as soon as they come in. We also are making sure that we are asking for vaccinations to be, they should have taken a vaccine. So these are measures that we are taking to, become a bit more stringent.
Concern, it's really important that we have good SARS-CoV-2 surveillance around the world, including better genomic sequencing, because we want to be able to detect this variant where it is circulating.
The government further urged the general public to embrace uptake of vaccines which have been proven to be working against the other strains.
Our plea is for those that are hesitant about the vaccine. We want to again reiterate that the vaccine is safe. It has been seen to have now no side effects, and if they are minimal. So let us not be carried away by the things that go on, the fake news in social media. Let us come out and take the vaccine. That is the only way to protect yourself and the only way to protect others. For those who are also really struggling with hesitancy, I would also say take the vaccine for the sake of your family. Take the vaccine for the sake of your elderly parents.
On Friday, the new variant identified as Omicron was identified in South Africa. Thereafter, the Technical Advisory Group on Virus Evolution met to review what is known about the new Omicron variant and classified it as a variant of concern.
Based upon the information that we have, particularly from South Africa, they have advised WHO that this variant should be classified as a variant of concern. So today we are announcing B11529 as a variant of concern named Omicron. Omicron B11529 is named as a variant of concern because it has some concerning properties. This variant has a large number of mutations, and some of these mutations have some worrying characteristics.
The new variant was first identified in South Africa, although it is unclear whether it originated there or whether it was brought into the country from elsewhere in the region. The Omicron variant is reportedly spreading across the world. As of today, it has been detected in a number of countries, including South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, Malawi, Australia, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and Belgium. Scientists and public health experts have warned that the huge gap between vaccination rates in the developed and developing world is likely to blame. According to the World Health Organization, only 7.5% of people in low-income countries have received at least one dose of the vaccine, compared to 63.9% of people in high-income countries. As of last month, a total of 537 million doses had been shipped to 144 countries, while 7.9 billion doses have been administered globally. According to the latest data of vaccine uptake released by the Ministry of Health, Nairobi country is leading with the number of those vaccinated at 37.5%, followed by Nyeri at 32%, Laikipia at 25%, Kirinyaga at 24%, Kiambu at 23%, Murang'a at 22%, and Nyandarua at 21%, while Marsabit County has recorded the lowest number of vaccine administration at 1.5%. Kenyans have been urged to be cautious in the wake of the new COVID-19 variant.
Kwa hivyo hii ugonjwa wa COVID bado hujaenda. Ni hapo tunaomba tu ya kwamba muendelee kuvaa mask, keep distance, hiyo mambo yote tunaomba kwamba mjihadhari kwa sababu ugonjwa bado upo.
Pharmaceutical companies say they could update vaccines to match the Omicron variant in around 100 days if they are needed. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Now, Ruto has assured Kirinyaga residents that his party, the United Democratic Alliance, will conduct free and fair nominations in all elective positions. While addressing rallies in parts of Gishugu and Ndia constituencies, Ruto has cautioned leaders against inciting the youth, insisting that UDA will not condone any form of political violence or intolerance. And as Mwangi Maina now reports, local politics dominated DP Ruto's tour of the county.
As the political battle in Kirinyaga County heats up, pitting Governor Anne Waiguru, who joined the Ruto Brigade a few weeks ago, and MP Purity Ngireche, who for a while has been Ruto's point man in Kirinyaga, the battle lines have already been drawn. The deputy president was calculative in his speech, careful not to endorse either of the political bigwigs, but told Kirinyaga residents they will nominate whoever they desire to vie on a UDA party ticket in a free and fair nomination.
Mimi nataka niwahakikishie nikisimama hapa, nyinyi wananchi ndio mtaamua nani atapatiwa tikiti gani. Tunaelewana? Na mimi nataka nisimame hapa niwaambie chama yetu ya UDA itakuwa na free, fair, democratic, verifiable nomination na wananchi ndio wataamua.
Waiguru and Ngireche, who accompanied Ruto in his Kirinyaga tour, called on the UDA party to conduct free and credible nominations. On their side, they pledged to maintain peace and asked Kirinyaga residents to embrace the UDA party, irrespective of who is flying its ticket.
Tunasema ya kwamba wananchi ndio wataamua nani atachaguliwa Kirinyaga, na sisi hatutaki fujo, hatutaki matusi. Tumekubaliana. Kama mmekubaliana na mimi nionyeshe na mkono. Ruto.
Tafadhali.
Watu wa Kirinyaga itaendelea na Kirinyaga tutafanya kazi.
While popularizing his bottom-up economic model, Ruto promised to set aside 100 billion Kenya shillings to boost the Jubilee government Big Four agenda, which he says was derailed by ODM leader Raila Odinga after the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta. At the same time, Ruto has taken a swipe at Raila, claiming he has no tangible vision for the country.
Simuti ya kuvunja machama. Si hata juzi mimi nilienda Kisumu. Si alinipiga na mawe Kisumu. Sasa mtu ya kupigana nawe, mtu ya kuleta kisirani, ya kuvunja machama, ndio mnataka ati atuongoze sisi? Hapana.
Ruto's foot soldiers castigated Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho for allegedly issuing threats and forcing a presidential candidate down their throats. They alluded that Kenya's next president will not be decided in boardrooms but at the ballot.
Chama ya UDA, hii ya kazi ni kazi. Ni chama ya Wakenya wote. Wenye wanasimama MCA wote karibuni. Hata wenye wanasimama everywhere. Mkuje tufanye nomination, wananchi waamue. Takubali kupangwa. Mtapangiwa Nyeri na Nairobi kwa mahoteli ama mtajipanga? Mtajipanga Kirinyaga?
Na watu ambao wameanza cultural associations. Biashara yao ni kufanya biashara ya samaki na biashara ya vitu zingine katika mji ya Nyeri. Tunataka kuambia hawa watu shida ya Wakenya ni uchumi vile ilivyo mbaya na hakuna pesa mfukoni. Ukweli ama uongo?
Mtu akuje kwa UDA. Wengi walikosa kuja kwa sababu ya kutishwa na kushikwa. Kama mimi wananishikaga Friday. Wananivugia Friday na Saturday, Monday mimi natoka naendelea kuongea ukweli.
Earlier, the deputy president attended a church service at the All Saints ACK Kirinyaga Church during the official opening of the newly constructed church. With the battle lines for gubernatorial race drawn between Governor Anne Waiguru and Woman Representative Purity Ngireche, Deputy President William Ruto has assured Kirinyaga residents that they will be given an equal opportunity to nominate the leader they want to fly the UDA flag high in Kirinyaga gubernatorial race and other positions. Mwangi Maina, TV47 from Kiburu, Kirinyaga County.
Well, thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that. Now, still in politics, ODM boss Raila Odinga has continued to popularize his Azimio la Umoja agenda in Nairobi's Eastlands. Odinga says that if he clinches power next year, he will deliver on the agenda under the handshake between him and President Uhuru Kenyatta. Paul Kirobi tells us more.
A day after ODM leader Raila Odinga completed his tour of Nyeri County, popularizing his Azimio la Umoja clarion call ahead of 2022 polls, the ODM boss spent the better part of Sunday in Nairobi's Eastlands, Odinga making several stopovers before holding a rally in Jacaranda Stadium. The former Prime Minister has promised Kenyans that he will deliver his promises under the handshake deal between him and President Kenyatta.
Tulipiti chini na Uhuru mwenyewe alichukua kiapo kule Kasarani. Sisi tukaenda Uhuru Park kuchukua kiapo. Sasa nchi ilikuwa inaenda kusambaratika. Kwa sababu tukaketi chini, tukaongea kwa kirefu, kubaliana tunaweza kuleta Kenya pamoja. That's the mission. Kwa hiyo ndio maana ya handshake, ni sababu mimi naendeza mambo ya handshake, mambo ya umoja, kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
His competitor, Deputy President William Ruto, has been making a similar promise that he will deliver the Big Four agenda under his leadership come 2022. If elected, Raila's allies now claims that President Kenyatta owes Raila a political debt that should be paid.
There is also a very serious political debt that has to be paid to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, we have come to the man of God, yule ambaye ataomba watu wenyewe wajitume kulipa deni ya Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga.
Baba, nataka kukuelezea kwamba usiogope. Wewe mwenyewe uliwekwa kwenye detention without trial for 10 years. Wakati ni huu ambapo Mungu atakubariki. So usife moyo.
That's why I say anytime, Baba, you have an ODM party. I wish this can be changed to handshake party. Because this is more to the country than any other thing you have done in this country. Umeleta Kenya ikawa pamoja mkiwa na uhuru.
Najua Baba alipigania nchi. Hii freedom ambayo sasa watu wanajenjoy wakitukana watu wakifanya siasa ni Baba alipigania. Aliingia jela miaka karibu 10 hakika.
Lazima tushukuru Baba Raila Amolo Odinga kwa sababu hii freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom of assembly ililetwa kulingana na mzee Raila Amolo Odinga. Na tukisema hivi, wale wapinzani wetu wanasema tusiambie watu historia.
A section of Mount Kenya leaders have also assured Odinga support come next year's polls.
The president is gaining acceptability. There are people who never used to listen to us. They are opening their ears. They are opening their hearts. They are opening their homes. They are welcoming the message from Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga.
By the to May, June, Baba will be 17 in Central Province. Baba will be 70 in Central Province. Kwa sababu ndugu yake watakuwa wameshikana na yeye mkono.
After a church service at the Jesus Teaching Ministry, Odinga made several roadside stopovers, calling on Kenyans to support him in the upcoming general elections. The ODM boss made stopovers in Donholm and Soweto before addressing a rally at Jacaranda grounds, where he promised Kenyans a better future if elected president. Under his Azimio la Umoja agenda, Raila says he will revive industries that are dead, create job opportunities, a 6,000 monthly stipends to vulnerable Kenyans, sealing corruption loopholes, and addressing challenges of water in the city. Odinga is set to announce his 2022 plan on the 10th of next month. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, I want us to say on politics, on matters politics, but to help me understand the latest developments in the political scene, I'll be joined by two gentlemen, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Farah Maalim. Karibu to the show, sir. Farah, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay, sawa karibu to the show. Then I have the Deputy Governor of Kisii County. That is Josh Mangi. Karibu.
Yes, good morning, my brother.
Good morning to you. Nice to see you, gentlemen. We'll be joined by Simon Gikuru, who is the ANC Secretary General, later on in this broadcast physically. But gentlemen, I'm sure you've been watching that piece that was on air right now by our reporter, Paul Kirobi. And it seems, you know, the politics, we are now at fever pitch. Raila yesterday lashed out at Ruto over graft in government. We've heard the deputy president saying that he has not yet started campaigning. Josh, I want to start with you. Is it true that the deputy president, what he's doing currently is just inspecting government projects?
You know, Maina, official campaign period begins when the IBC declares so. So until then, all of us, including myself, we're just warming up. We're just warming up. But official campaign period begins when IBC declares. When William Ruto says that he's not campaigning yet, you know, I agree with him because people are warming up. There's an official campaign period that will be declared by IBC. But you know, politics, life is politics. So you keep on playing politics. And playing politics is not necessarily the same as campaigning. So right now what he's doing is playing politics, is warming up in preparation for the main campaign when they will start.
Okay, Sawa. Thank you for the response. I would want the former National Assembly Deputy Speaker Farah Maalim to react to that. Bwana Farah, what is the situation on the ground in your own opinion?
My son, you know, this country has a very unique political culture. One political process ends and it takes about a month or two. After that, people start again campaigns for the next election. So we have been in a campaign mode. We have been different people, different centers, different parties, different coalitions have been promoting their ideas all this time. So it's understandable. I mean, there's nothing. I know IBC would want to try and bear its teeth and threaten that we will even disqualify some people or some parties from participating in these elections because they're starting early elections. So the early campaigns will always be there. So well, let's you know, the game has started. Whether somebody wants to call it a warm up or wants to call it the real thing itself, the reality is people are shaping their own political manifestos, their political ideals and values, and the masses of the country are listening very keenly and basically forming their decisions and changing their decisions and reforming again their decisions. So you can rest assured this process will be on. But this is a very unique election because this one will have not two centers. You see, right now, both Raila and Ruto would want to play this as if it's a two-horse race. Surprised, you'd be surprised. It's going to heat up. It's going to literally reach a crescendo in terms of the rhythms. And let's see. But I'm happy because it's going to be a very fascinating election. This election will probably be one of the best that's ever happened in this country for a very long time, if not the best, because I don't think there'll be any rigging, because anybody who tries to rig anything this time is playing with disaster, and I don't think anybody would dare do that. But I also think that nobody has it bad. Everybody is going to be making an effort, and the likelihood of having a runoff again is very, very live and very, what do you call, possible. And then whoever comes in the last minute, God knows who it's going to be. It could be the most unexpected. It could be not Ruto, not Raila, but somebody else.
Well, Farah, I want to hold you to something that you've just said there. You've said that this is going to be the best election. I don't know, the best election on what background? We saw what happened in Kisumu the other day. We saw yesterday the ugly scenes in Kirinyaga, the two rival groups belonging to the woman rep and the governor. Very ugly scenes in Kirinyaga. Is that a sign of things to come? And when you say it's going to be the best, what do you really mean?
No, I don't think that's a sign of things to come. We're seeing, I think the very least that the state can do, what you call the deep state, or rather the government can do now, is to make sure that the free and fair elections, and credible in the sense that there'll be no violence, there'll be no, all those things are going to, it's, when these things are 8 months or 7 months away, you can see some of these bad habits rearing their ugly heads. But the reality of the matter is that it will be reined in. I have no doubt in my mind it will be reined in. And any politician who thinks he can play the violence card to win an election right now is only undermining his own or her own chances of becoming a leader in this country. So you don't have to worry about. I'm not worried about that. I think it'll be free. The system will work, and it will work impeccably. And the winners will be the winners, and the losers will be the losers. And I don't think anybody would want to go for a because that would be causing disaster. And I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta, under these uncertain circumstances where you can never tell who's going to be the winner and who's going to be the loser, then the best you can do to leave as a legacy for this country is all the free, fair elections. Let the best man or the best woman win, and when they get, so be it.
Okay, I want to hear this from you, Bwana DG, Joash Mangi. Do you think the IEBC should flex its muscle, and help curb these rising cases of violence in political rallies? Should people be disqualified to send a strong message?
Unfortunately, IPC has no mandate to disqualify anybody at this time. But when the campaign period will begin, IBC will have the mandate of managing the campaign process.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when sometimes I find it interesting that when something is associated with William Ruto, everybody says it's wrong. Who is not campaigning? My party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, is campaigning. The Wiper party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, is campaigning. ANC, Musalia Mudavadi, is campaigning very seriously. And in fact, as my brother speaker said, that most of the time, campaigns begin right after the election has ended, the other election has ended. Let me give you the example of America. Everybody knows that as soon as a president, even it is the Republicans who win,
yes,
or for example, like now, it is the Democrats who won. We have a Democratic president. Do you know the Republicans began looking for a presidential candidate the next day? Right now, Trump is planning on how to come back. In the meantime, the Republican Party is looking for a suitable candidate who can beat Biden. So politics is an everyday occurrence. And politicians treat politics as a career. So that's what they do. That's the only thing they know how to do. The only difference is that they are decent. In Kenya, we are still a little bit, for lack of a better word, we conduct our politics in a very indecent manner. For example, you have indicated about the fights that took place in Kisumu. But as for yesterday, the competitive nature of Ngirishi and Waiguru, there's nothing wrong. The two women are very strong. Each one's become governor of Kirinyaga, and they must compete. And they are competing for the attention of both the deputy president and the people of Kirinyaga. So this will continue.
So, and thanks for acknowledging that you already.
And by the way, when Farah says that this will be the best election, I kind of agree with him.
Okay.
Because this is going to be an election that people are well prepared. You see, there has been enough time to campaign whether officially or unofficially, number one. Number two, the people of Kenya, the voting population of Kenya in 2022 is very different from the voting population of Kenya in 2002. Internet is everywhere, WhatsApp is everywhere. People are aware of everything. The people are more informed. Like there are those who believe that the youth population for a long time has not been voting for a long time. But this time round, I will tell you, the youth are on to vote because the youth are very keen. The youth are unemployed. So if someone tells you, if you vote candidate A or candidate B, it will be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. So do not underestimate the power of the youth in 2022. The youth are on to vote because for the first time, they have woken up the reality that it is them who will determine the direction of this country. So this is going to be the best election.
Okay, so and very briefly, and as I said, thank you for acknowledging that you are a member of ODM. Yesterday, your party leader said something about the deputy president, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, said something about William Ruto and about, a government's project stalling because of him. He accused him of massive corruption. I want you very briefly to tell me what you think about that. They are both your friends.
They are both my friends, and
There's
they are just campaigning. They are just campaigning. You know, when you are campaigning, Farah, you must try to attack the other side. They are just campaigning.
Okay.
But they are both my friends.
Farah, go ahead.
If you had been married before and then you marry another new bride, usually the new bride looks like an angel somewhere. So for you.
Farah, you are a Muslim. You are a Muslim and no one is allowed to marry up to 4 women.
Okay, so gentlemen, I want us to talk about these. I don't know if you have your copies of the Daily Nation. The top story on the Daily Nation is about allegedly Ruto's hidden hand in the One Kenya Alliance chiefs fallout. There are people who are full of mistrust, that is on ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. They are directing their mistrust towards ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. They are saying that he secretly wants to work with the Deputy President William Ruto. Apparently, they've been having consultations, which here are called night meetings. Farah, I want to engage you on this. Do you see a possible coalition between the two, Mudavadi and Ruto?
Look, in life or in this country, nothing is impossible. Anything is possible. I've seen Raila work with Moi and fold his party and join KANU when we all knew that KANU was the problem in the country. Raila, who had absolutely no time for Kibaki, still rise up in Uhuru Park and say Kibaki tosha. So the thing I love about the Kenyan politics is that nothing is permanent. Only the interest is permanent, whatever one translates that interest to be. So I cannot discount anything. To be honest to you, any two Kenyans can talk together, and they can create a coalition, or break up one, create another one, and keep on doing it. So the possibility that somebody from Oka could be talking to somebody else is there. But do I believe that it's happening right now? Under the circumstances that we have all discussed very closely for a very long time, and the vigor and the vitality we saw in One Kenya Alliance, I have my doubts about it. I think this is mostly the work of the speculators, and the speculators will always have one thing or the other to talk about. And for Musalia and Ruto to come together and talk somewhere and have a cup of tea, there's nothing strange about that. I mean, it's any two people can come together, whether you want to call it a night meeting or a day meeting or weddings or church services or whatever it is. The only thing is that we don't have that in the mosque, because in the mosque we are there strictly for the prayer of that moment, and outside that, then it has to be, even if it's a function of fundraising, it has to be outside the mosque. And usually people don't do it inside the mosque. So I don't know, to be honest with you, but I have my doubts that any one of them will betray the ideals of One Kenya Alliance and walk away without having a serious consultation with the other friends and the other principals. I am actually a non-presidential candidate principal in that, and I assume and Musalia is a good friend of mine. I want to assume that if he had any serious discussions, I would have known it one way or the other.
I doubt it. I doubt it very much. And by the way, let me tell you, the One Kenya Alliance is likely to go it alone. You know, don't be cheated about the fact that they would want to join one camp, or some of them would want to jump from the camp to join another camp. They are stronger. They have more hopes to the future together than breaking up their own One Kenya Alliance, because that is the body that probably could be taken in as the final alternative in terms of which center will carry the day. The possibility that One Kenya Alliance could either become number 1 or number 2 in the first round, and you never know. You never know once they become any of those ones. Then they are for sure going to form the next government, because the possibility of the Ruto faction and the Raila faction coming together is very remote. So if I am somebody, I think I will not throw away this golden opportunity. It's the most viable opportunity. For both ideological purposes, it's a moderate, it's a center left or center right, whatever you want to call it, pretty much center, and at the same time is able to win any side when a runoff becomes something. And you saw the launching of the National Delegates Congress that we had for Wiper, which went extremely well. We had it for all the other parties before that, including Ford Kenya and Kanu. I want to believe that we have one for NC anytime. So it's we are in a better position both ideologically and operationally than any other. So for any of us to run down and get into a state of panic and begin now throwing mud at the inside the house, not right. Yeah.
Well, before I engage the DG on this, you seem to be an insider, Bonafara. Mind telling us who might fly that flag, the One Kenya Alliance flag, if the center will hold, like you're saying? Who might fly this? Who's the likely presidential candidate and his deputy? Kindly.
The two front runners in this case right now, in my opinion, is Kalonzo and Mudavadi. So it could go either way. And every center will be pushing. NC, of course, will push very hard for Mudavadi, the flag bearer, and we in Wiper are pushing very hard for Kalonzo to be the flag bearer. But you could rest assured that something that will take half a day for a decision to be reached between the two, plus the rest of us who are there. I think both the can for Kenya would be willing to work with one of them as president, and probably the other one as the president.
And I understand that we have the Secretary General. Okay, go ahead.
I think we will. I don't think we will describe that very strongly to the idea of saying that every party must have, every national candidate must have a running mate from the mountain region. I think that probably will not. We will they're going to. So the possibility that we will not have a presidential candidate is also there. Of course, create also other offices that will be realized and actualized immediately after elections that are equally very big in stature. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that comment. Bwana DJ Josh Mangi, the One Kenya Alliance will go it all the way to the presidential contest. That is according to the former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Farah Maalim. He says we might be in for surprises. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Is this a formidable third horse, so to say?
Yes and no, but let me first say what the newspaper is saying, that is talking about Ruto's hidden hand in Oka wrangles. You know, that I don't think that is true, but at the same time, that has been still doing rounds. that, as I've said before, we have two horses. So when we have two horses, everybody in the presidential competition will grafted to either of the two horses. If you see what happened at the Guaiba NDC,
yes,
they invited Raila Amolo Odinga plus others. And the people from ANC were very, they complained they were very uncomfortable because they said, why would you invite an opponent? Which means Guaiba leader Kalonzo Musyoka kind of gravitates towards Raila. On the other hand, Musalia Mudavadi kind of gravitates towards Ruto. So if Oka were to break, you can see the direction the politicians will take. Raila is likely to take Kalonzo Musyoka, and Ruto is likely to take Mudavadi. Now, but if they go all the way, frankly speaking, as they are today, that's Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Gideon Moi. If they go all the way, they will still have they will not have any big impact. They are really donkeys in this race. But if they combine with Mount Kenya, as they tried to do last week, then they will become a very serious third force. I agree that if they combine with Mount Kenya, they become a serious third force. But so long as they're just the two known culprits, I don't think so. But what would even be more shaking is if they combine with Mount Kenya and then they choose either one of these two horses. If Oka joins with Mount Kenya, then they join UDA, for example, then that is a game shot. That the game is shot as early as 8 in the morning. So it depends on the direction they want to take. Last time my colleague, the DG of Nyeri, indicated that she doesn't think that Oka uniting with Mount Kenya is planning for the presidency. She indicated that they are actually trying to secure a number 2 position, that's the deputy presidency. If that be the case, there will still be a very strong force because they will actually determine who becomes president. Sometimes number 2 becomes the determinant. In 2013, William Ruto was number 2, but he became the determinant because he could have swung either way. If he had swung, Raila Amolo Odinga would have been president, but he chose to swing the direction of Uhuru Kenyatta, and Uhuru became president. So if Oka combines with Mount Kenya, then the direction they will swing to will be the one that will win the presidency. So you can't take them for granted, but time will tell.
Well, so and at this point, go ahead, Farah.
We tend to become very simplistic about the experiences we went through. You know that in 2007, everybody was there together, including William Ruto, including the entire Kalenjin votes. Were all on the side of Raila Odinga as the presidential candidate, and the mountain.
And Raila won.
And mountain.
And Raila won in 2007.
Let him finish kindly. Let him finish.
Yes.
Okay.
And mountain was just mountain alone, and he won. He won with a big margin. And then we had Code again in 2013 when Ruto joined the other side, and they lost. Raila still won that one again, 2013, and everybody knows that. But of course, they were rigged out. 2017, I still believe that Raila won and won with a big margin, but he was again rigged out. So if we're going to have a free and fair elections, it's not going to be business as usual, not the way things that we've been used to before. So and by the way, let me tell you one thing. For those people who are probably seeing this for the first time when there are 3 serious centers. Sometimes back, I can't remember which year it was, there were elections in Mali. And a friend of mine who was called Celine was a Fulani himself, got 47% of the votes.
Yes.
But then nobody could win 50+1, so there had to be a rerun. And then there was a bunch of all, the different parties, and I think the best among those other ones had 19%. When it came to the runoff, can you believe it? We expected Celine to get just he needed the few 3% he needed from any of those others and win. No. The other one was just overthrown the other day, Alpha Conde. Conde won with this guy got 46% and this other guy got 54%. You know what I mean? So the one who was at 47% remained and actually lost 2 points. So all the rest came together. All the rest came together. So the chance has it that if we're going to go for a first round, the possibility of what do you call none of these two so-called horses, the ones you're calling horses, winning. Look, everybody has got a certain religious support which is very devoted, which either is regional and other what do you call modes of divide, about 25-30% usually. And then the rest are the people who are comfortable with you, who would say, look, under this guy, I don't think any problems will come to us. So my business will be fine, not suffer. So people come in as a sense of security to you, to give you the numbers to take you over the requirement. So ideally, if there was going to be a run between Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila, for example, or Mudavadi and Raila, or Mudavadi and Ruto, or Kalonzo and Ruto, people will say, okay, fine. I might not like Kalonzo so much, but really, these are safe hands. I probably will go to this guy. And the other guy, I'm worried. I want to. And there are many people who told me that the day they see that the numbers are picking up very fast for Ruto, they will be on the next flight. The tickets are going to be ready. They'll take off from the country. You know what I mean? So there are certain people who evoke powerful emotions and fears. And those fears are what defines the manner in which they're going to conduct themselves in elections. I mean, look at the US, for example. Trump has got a blind following from certain sectors, very big, powerful blind following. And there is a blanket fear from others who think that, oh my God, this country will go to hell if he comes in. But that's because of the fears. So you can never tell who is going to win. You can never tell who's going to win.
Well, and I want us to talk. I want us to talk about the nomination process in the country, the primaries. That's where a lot happens. But before we do that, very briefly, Bwana DG, I'd like to take you back to something that you've said that is quite telling. During the Wipers National Delegates Conference, the Raila rather said that why there are people who are asking why he had been welcomed, and it seemed to attribute those sentiments to ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. Don't you think that is one of the clearest indications that probably this principle from Oka is going to bolt out?
I come from that center, so let me give you an explanation.
Okay, so
the explanation is that one, Raila is a politician. Raila is a very, very an accomplished, savvy politician. He knows how to behave. And he knows how to create fear, despondency, what they call distrust among people up there. And I don't see why anybody would have met, because we invited him to the one-off. He was invited to the one-off Gideon Moi. And he attended the one of Gideon Moi. And Uhuru also sent his people. And now again, Uhuru sent Rafael Tuju to this one. We also invited everybody. So it's a bit of a tradition that basically we felt was going to be carried by every party. Every party is going to do that, because we're also looking, as Oka, we are looking at that grand coalition in which ODM will join Oka. Mark my words.
Okay.
We are rooting for ODM to join Oka. We are rooting for Jubilee Uhuru faction to join Oka, because Oka is, after all, nothing more than one Kenya alliance. We're trying to bring the country together. So precisely because of that, precisely because of that. And by the way, Raila is the same guy who everybody expected him to become a candidate in 2007, but then stood on the 2002, but then came out there at the last minute and said Sikibaki Tosha. And you know, less than 2 hours before that, as the chair of that the Kenya People's Alliance that time, which brought together Ford People, Safina, and a number of parties with Nyachai there, he had promised us that he was going to support Nyachai for the presidency. You know what I mean? But again, you know, we walked from there. We walked from Serena, where we signed we signed what you call the memorandum of understanding or agreement with the LDP, and walked to the Uhuru Park. And less than 2 hours later, he said Sikibaki Tosha and endorsed Kibaki. So that's why they call him Agwambo. You know, Agwambo means basically the mysterious guy. You know what somebody you can
you know.
Some great history lessons there from Farah. I want you to react to that, Wana George.
Yep, you know, as I said earlier, it is very clear that Kalonzo Musyoka is gravitating towards Raila Amolo Odinga. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the petrol lines are getting drawn slowly. And if Oka was to break up, you can see the direction that the members will take. Right? William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi will go to Raila. And Musalia Mudavadi and Senator Wetangula will go to Ruto. But what was more telling is the way Kalonzo invited Raila Amolo Odinga to the NDC. He didn't just come like any other invitee. He came more like the chief guest. He was actually the chief guest. He was the main guest on that occasion. So that is very telling.
Let him finish.
Can I finish my... That is very telling. Now, I want to agree with Farah that it is true that if Oka were to join with ODM, or if ODM were to join Oka plus Mount Kenya, and then they will become such a force to reckon with, and then I think also, whoever they will produce as a candidate, if Oka, Mount Kenya come together, and then they support Raila Amolo Odinga as their candidate, then you know Raila Amolo Odinga will win. He will definitely win. That's what I'm saying. Do not underestimate the matchup between Oka and Mount Kenya. That may be the determinant of the direction these politics will take. If they come together and Raila joins them, or they join Raila, whichever, it doesn't make a difference. But the presidential candidate they will produce between Raila Amolo Odinga, between ODM, Oka, and Mount Kenya will be unbeatable. Now, in the past, I've said that Kenyan politics is still very tribalized.
Yes.
You are as strong as how big your tribe is. And we have 5 big tribes in this country who play a dominant role in the elections because of the number of the registered voters from where they come from. Now, if Oka joins hands with Mount Kenya, for practical purposes, those are Luyas, Kambas, and Kikuyus coming together. Now, if you add Raila into the mix, so you are actually adding the Luos into the mix. So you will be having the Luo community, the Upper Luya community, the Kikuyu community, and the Kamba community. Out of the big 5 communities in this country, you'll be having 4 of them speaking with one voice. It will be difficult for them to lose.
Okay, so and right now at this point, I want to mention that we have been joined by the Amani National Congress Secretary General, that is Simon Gikuru. Karibu sana to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
So the issue here that you found us discussing is about Mudavadi's loyalty. Apparently, the deputy president is pulling strings behind the curtains, and you know what he wants, according to some members of parliament close to the to your party, saying that Mudavadi might not go all the way with his core principles in the One Kenya alliance and might jump ship and support Deputy President William Ruto.
Very interesting views there. I've been keenly listening to the Deputy Governor as well to my big brother, a former Deputy Speaker Farah Malim. And I must say that I'm impressed by the attitude of the former Deputy Speaker when he's addressing the issues to do with Oka. And the possibility that, you know, we are going to go all the way to the ballot as a coalition. And even more important, the fact that we may end up having either His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi or His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka as a flag for Oka. But when you listen to the Deputy Governor, you get a bit mesmerized that he would think, he would even entertain the thought that my party leader would in any way join the Deputy President. Okay, there is a politics is the art of the impossible. But I can almost guarantee you that the illusion that ANC would have some sort of working relationship with UDA would only be on condition that UDA is coming to support our presidential candidate, who is Musalia Mudavadi. So I don't know whether that is what the Deputy Governor is looking at, because if it is any other way, it is impossible. I can always guarantee you that. That said and done, I must say that the issues of NDC, you know, Wiper's NDC and Wiper inviting former Prime Minister and all that. Of course, as ANC, we were very uncomfortable with it, for the reason that we have seen every attempt by former Prime Minister to find his way through to Oka through the back door. Remember that these are his former partners in NASA, and they have clearly put it that the way he treated them in NASA and the fact that he's come out as someone who lacks trust, he suffers from deficit of trust, then therefore it is very hard for them to support him again. And he knows very well he cannot win this election alone. He cannot even win with just one of the Oka partners, assuming today that Wiper goes to join ODM and they form whatever coalition. They still cannot win. So the issue of him trying to use the back door, and by the way, he is known to use the back door in almost every other political engagement and scheme. He is now in government. UDA says that he joined through the back door. So we've seen his attempts. We can see him from very far and whatever he's trying to do. And we are very clear as ANC. Whatever comes, we cannot support former Prime Minister again. He has had his chance. Kenyans have given him a chance. So has NASA previously. So why would we? And what we are saying is very simple. We believe that Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister, is a statesman of his own kind. He has given his contribution to the nation building of Kenya. We know that he was there in the so-called second liberation. We understand he has been detained. Yes. And all those are accolades. And he has done his contribution as a statesman. But as young people, and as ANC, we are saying, going forward, does he have anything else to offer? And our honest opinion, is that he may not have anything else to offer. If you listen to his speeches, they are not inspiring. They are not telling young people how he will solve their unemployment problems. He is not telling us how he will help resuscitate our economy. He is not telling us how he will help unite this country. You just come to the podium and you give us a whole 2 hours of lecture of history, who did what. Come on. We've been there. We've also done history. We have studied history. We don't want history. We want the future. And I can tell you, Raila Amolo Odinga does not inspire anything futuristic. He's done his past. We appreciate him. Let him go and retire. The moment ANC and our other partners form government, he will have his space as a former Prime Minister, given all the state accolades. And should anything happen to him, we will make sure he goes to the best hospital. And should anything happen after that, he'll be given all the honors that are given former state persons. So our feeling is that the way DG is trying to shape opinion, to insinuate that we would work with Ruto. Of course we would work with him on the condition that he's coming to support our presidential flag bearer. So I think let us get serious with these things, because we appear to be sort of not serious. If we come on national TV and we just want to, give our personal views and try to make them acceptable opinions, that one cannot work. And for your information, I come from Mount Kenya, and Mount Kenya has not decided. I don't know what's the hurry with people. People in Mount Kenya are known to decide in the last 3 months. And I can tell you, this issue of 2-horse race is just a creation of the media and a creation of the so-called horses. And I want to thank former Deputy Prime Speaker Farah Marim by indicating clearly here that this issue of 2-horse race is nonsense. We very well know that Oka is not a force to joke around with. Oka is a force to reckon with. So when we are discussing our politics, let us be liberal enough. Let us be realistic enough. There is enough time, more than enough time. Movements have not started yet. You will see a lot of political movements, and I can almost assure and guarantee our viewers here, Oka is not a force to joke around with. And let me tell you, by the way, for your information, Oka is going to form the next government.
Okay, so but DJ, I know you are itching to respond to that, but let us take a very, very short break. I will be back. I want us to tackle that issue and also talk about the issue of nominations at the Orange Party. There's something that Kalonzo told Jimmy Wanjigi. He's a presidential aspirant who wants to fly the ODM flag. So we'll be right back after this short break. Remember, the hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47. Keep it here.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point.
You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Ameongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man knows how to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys, and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major part of Night In Season 1. We thank you for being with us on this journey, and for this upcoming season, we will bring you more empowering stories that not everyone is talking about.
This is the only show where we keep it authentic. We share our lifetime experiences, and you know what? Tell every person that you can turn your pain into power.
Join Joy Irungu on Night In as we take the brave step of sharing.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher.
Nyuma ya wheelbarrow kuna economic model.
And trickier with each passing day.
Niliwaambia washushe chini bei ya mafuta.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
How has Raila and the handshake made Jubilee lose focus?
You've seen Raila Odinga flying military choppers.
Our people have never been called to Uhuru Park to unite. They have always united out of their own volition.
Reduce your madness.
Kenyans are suffering.
Would it be fair to conclude?
I don't want your station to be sued. That Jubilee government has never been able to sponsor any successful project.
Every Monday at 9:30 p.m., Pundits Night brings you inclusive and candid conversations with the pundits. We say disability is not inability.
Our impairment are not disability. Disability is the barriers put across by the society.
Beyond the Limit gives a voice to those abled
The Deputy Governor of Kisii, Joash Maangi, and the former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Bonafara Maalim. Just before we went for that short break, Joash, you were itching to respond to the ANC Secretary General very briefly, because I want us to move on to something else.
You know, the ANC Secretary General is very interesting, and for lack of a better word, I would say, and I don't want to take offense, I would say there is a new player. He's a new player in politics. You know, he's excited that Farah Marum is taking his line of argument. That's because Farah Marum is a principal in Oka, so he must protect Oka. I respect Farah Marum a lot. He's a very sober politician, very sober. But he's a principal in Oka, so he must protect the interests of Oka. Now, this gentleman, the Secretary General of the ANC, that is his work. He's the spokesperson of the party. He must say, even when all indications are that ANC is going nowhere, he must say that ANC must produce the next president. I mean, you know, even himself, if he were to be honest with himself, he knows that Mudavadi alone with ANC is going nowhere. ANC as a party without Oka will be playing probably in the fourth league. ANC becomes relevant as a partner in Oka. But ANC alone with Musalia Mudavadi as the presidential candidate is going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. But you see, he's the Secretary General. That's why he must protect his boss. He must be seen to be protecting the party that he represents.
Okay, let me ask the deputy party, DG, which party do you think would go anywhere on its own? You know, we have to get things right. Jubilee can never go anywhere on its own. ODM can never go anywhere on its own. No party today in Kenyan politics can go anywhere on its own. And that is why our talks this morning are about coalitions and partnerships. So I think you never got me right, DG. Next time you may need to listen keenly between the lines. Okay,
Bonafara Maalim, I think you'll calm the storm here. Go ahead.
I think Gikuru did a good job in basically showing the position on what he feels is best under the circumstances for the coalition that he is part of, and I agree. I agree with him. Now let me talk of inspiration. Right? Gakuru talked of inspiration. He says the Prime Minister does not inspire anybody. But did you see did any of you have the opportunity to listen to the speech by Kalonzo Musyoka on that National Delegates Congress? I think it's something that I have been waiting and praying and basically, of course, part of this one now. But then to see somebody who is going to come up with a serious plan for this country, not just for the heck of it. You talk about double-digit, what they call development. I think I remember Ruto talking of double-digit growth in this country without saying how. And now we're talking about a bottom-up thing, and there's very little what they call substance or meat in that for you to understand it and believe it. But let me now. That's beside the point for the time for the moment. But of course, it's politics. Everybody thinks that Kenyans are so gullible that you can tell them stories and they're going to fall for you. Now, the thing I want to tell you is that the reason why Oka cannot go in any direction other than remain in Oka, and everybody in Oka has to remain in Oka, because if Musalia Mudavadi were to leave Oka and join with UDA, what would he settle for? Because the deputy presidency in that place has already been promised to the mountain region. And if Kalonzo were to leave what they call Oka right now and join with Raila, what is he going to settle for? The Speaker of the National Assembly or the Speaker of the Senate? Because the deputy presidency has already been promised to the mountain region. So who is going to leave his own comfort here where you mean a lot, both for the moment and for the future also? And who has a serious constituency in here, and then go and join somewhere else to take the queue at the back, and be there as somebody who's going to be mtu wa mkono wa Ruto or mtu wa mkono wa Raila. Why would he do that? Why would Mudavadi leave Oka, or why would Kalonzo leave Oka? There's nothing in this that's going to advance their political future and their chances in politics and their relevance in politics, other than stay where they are now. And the one thing that we in Oka are serious about. We have seen Raila, we have given him, we have put our lot behind him lots of times. We as Gikuru puts it, we have issues with the trust, and we are not willing to go right now to take, like, you know, they're at the back, and we're not willing to do that also for Uda's case. So the point is that Oka has no chance in politics outside Oka. Nobody can't become anything outside Oka. Kalonzo can't become anything outside Oka. Gideon Moi can become zero outside Oka. Watangula zero. Farah Maalim zero. None of us is going to get cool. We are there where we are, and our chances are best where we are. So in push comes to shove, that is going to be the alternative to Kenyans, and we'll go there. We'll go it alone as Oka.
Okay, so and Deputy,
if we get Raila on board, fine. If we can get Uhuru on board, fine. But under circumstances, we will, in the very least, if that happens, everybody is assured of the fact that there's going to be a runoff. We have I have reason to believe that in that runoff, Oka will be one of the two left. Everybody thinks that there are two horse races here. No, I had already given you an indication of what happened in Mali. The politics, the way we are playing it right now. And let me tell you one thing. I like what Mangi put. Mangi said Kenyans are better informed now. Kenyans are fully informed. And Kenyans are going to decide what they feel is the best for this country and the best for their own people and their people. And under the circumstances, I think people have their own presumptions and prejudice against the deputy president. A lot of presumptions, and his history is something that cannot be escaped. Raila on his part also has prevaricated. You know, he went back and forth everywhere, and some people come to the conclusion that he stands for nothing. He only stands for his own self-relevance for him, because he joined KANU, he joined with Kibaki, he joined with Uhuru now. He's basically, more than anything else, and he's in all cases has betrayed a very powerful constituency that was avowedly dedicated to him and following him, and everybody said the man cannot be trusted. So you will be surprised. He could go to the ODM and God knows what, and probably end up being number 4, because that's what he was in 1997. 1997, he was defeated by everybody. He was defeated by Moi, by Kibaki, by literally he came number 4 in 1997. So the point is that 1997, 98. The point is that there is nobody new here. There is nobody new. Nobody is coming in here with an unknown quantity. Everybody served in this country one way or the other.
So, gentlemen,
Oka can only maintain relevance in this country if it remains together as Oka.
Okay.
And take a chance in politics, for example, even at the risk of being not quite sure whether they're going to win the elections or not, take the bull by the horn, move on with the ideas that we have right now, and push this thing to the logical conclusion. You never know. Kenyans might say, let us trust this people.
Okay, so gentlemen, yes. I want us to delve into the issue of nominations, and I want to stick with you, Bwana Farah. You are the deputy party leader of Wiper, and you've worked closely with the Wiper leader, your party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka. At one point, he seems, to increase his dalliance with the ODM leader, that's Raila Odinga. But then yesterday, during a church function, he told Jimmy Wanjigi to brace for tough times ahead. He quoted a time when they parted ways with the ODM party leader in 2007 and warned Wanjigi not to expect smooth nominations. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Look, all of us have been in almost all the centers, by the way. I was in ODM before. And party nominations in ODM is very, very tricky. Very, very tricky. That is where you have transactional politics. You know what you call transactional politics.
What do you mean by transactional politics?
You can buy your nomination easily, you know what I mean? And I've seen it go back and forth there, and I would never envy that. I would never want to be part of that again. And I against my own serious advice, look, when you go for some of these nominations, you end up growing the party from inside. And the best way to do it is basically carry out scientific opinion polls on every constituency within a certain given period. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, at least 1 year before you start the process. And towards the end, you could see who has the best option of winning that. And then you give the nomination to that person. And then, of course, when you give it to that person, you bring the others on board so that they don't leave the party. You don't leave you create a situation in they'll be comfortable staying in the party and playing other roles when you form the next government or you are victorious. We have had a bit of problems in the last election. We lost places because of having an internecine. You know, internecine. You have a fight within the family. When you have a fight within the family, of course, the people
wrap up kindly, because I want to also engage Joash, the DG of Kisii, because he's a member of ODM. Kindly, Farah, in less than a minute.
Go ahead. Wrap it up by telling you that it's a very tricky thing. It's very difficult. It's not easy. You could easily destroy the party from inside if you conduct your nominations in a manner that essentially will leave so many people with a bitter feelings. So the best thing, in my opinion, is that we will have to do it so well this time. We don't want to leave it to chance. We've seen it. We saw it, and we made a lot of mistakes, and we don't make those mistakes now.
Okay. So, Josh, over to you. Is your party democratic? Are you where you are because of what the former deputy speaker calls transactional politics?
Before I answer that question, let me say something about what Gakuru, the NCC, the general, said, that Raila does not inspire anybody. Really? I mean, if we were to compare Raila with Musalia Mudavadi, in all fairness, who inspires there? Who inspires?
Okay. No, it's okay. Let him give us his rejoinder.
On the issue of going it alone, I'm coming to your question. On the issue of going it alone, so far UDA and ODM are alone. Whether they will join others is still to be seen. But for the time being, UDA is alone and ODM is alone. Whether they will join others is something to be seen yet. Okay. Now, on the issue of nominations, I don't want to blame ODM only. In any case, in 2017, the party that had the largest outcry as a result of, transactional business, transactional elections, as Marum put it, was Jubilee. It is Jubilee which everybody was crying that if they were not towing a particular line, they were rigged out. Part of the reason why nominations are becoming very difficult in parties in Kenya is because of our young democracy.
Okay.
Parties are still young. Parties do not have enough money to conduct a proper election, and our attitude towards nomination is a little bit too expectant. In the US, which is the best democracy that we admire, nominations are done through caucuses. It's not done through actual voting. It's done through caucuses, which means it's not. You don't look for the exact numbers. You don't actually go to vote during nomination. You caucus around. The party looks around, shops around, and asks itself, who can win? Who is loyal to the party? Who can raise enough funds for the party and also for his campaign? So nominations are traditionally not exactly democratic. That is the real must accept. But in Kenya, because we are a young democracy and we want to perfect our process, we want to make sure that the nominations are democratic, which is actually very difficult. Very difficult to have democratic nominations.
Okay.
In the US, the Democratic Party will sit down and caucus around and decide we're giving the ticket to this man. The Republican Party will sit around and caucus and decide who they are giving the part. So sometimes let us not expect too much from our parties, which are still very, very young.
Okay, sawa. When SG, I have seen some pictures going around about the call for nominations for your party, and they were calling for all positions apart from that of the presidential candidate. I want to hear about what you think about that, and especially the democracy in parties. First of all, are there going to be free and fair nomination, a nomination process that is free and fair in ANC? And have you already chosen your presidential flag bearer? Is it open? Is it an open case like in ODM, where the case of Jimmy Wanjigi and Raila Odinga?
You see, the issue of party nominations, as DG is saying, is quite, it's problematic historically if you look at our democracy. Partly because carrying out free, fair and credible nominations for a political party is quite a task, a huge task. Partly because of the logistics involved, the monies, the competition. You realize that even IBC for all this time, given all the financial support that government gives them, the donors and everybody else, and still they are always having issues with the elections. So I want to agree for the first time with the DG that it's not an easy task to have free and fair nominations. And that is why, if you look at our constitution, and in particular, my party, we don't have to subject our candidates to what you're calling secret ballot nominations. You saw IBC give a press release the other day that out of all the 89 registered political parties, didn't have compliant nomination rules. As a matter of fact, they said no single political party had compliant nomination rules. And we all had to get back to the drawing board. We got our legal teams to sit and respond to the queries that IBC was raising. So the issue of party nominations is quite a headache for all of us. But what I would say is that we don't have to get people to the ballot. As a party, for example, we have what we call consensus, whereby we get our candidates to sit and we ask them, this is your strength, this is your weakness. Can we have a way of agreeing on the table?
Yes.
Without making you people spend a lot of money, get your supporters to heckle each other. So, and if you look at ODM, for example, because you raised the issue of ODM, former Prime Minister is quoted previously to have said there are no sacred cows in ODM, alluding to the fact that the nominations will be free and fair. But you see, the issue of getting people and getting the right candidates to the ballot is primarily an issue of political parties. And that is why we have political parties in our democracies. So that we are able to sieve, we are able to get the best out of the best. And this may not necessarily come out of what? Of a competitive nomination process. If it was so, then you saw in Nairobi what happened. Jubilee gave Kenyans a candidate by the name of the immediate former, I will not mention the name, immediate former governor. For goodness sake, where would the political party of Jubilee standing give their certificate to such kind of a candidate? The guy wins because the party is popular. Then they have to take a lot of effort, legal machinery to get him out of the governor's office. Are you getting me? So this is what we are challenging political parties is that let us not look at cheap populism. We want to give Kenyans quality candidates, the right leaders. And this is the role of political parties. People come, Some may be popular, some may be the loudest, but we're not looking for the most popular. We're not looking for the loudest. We want to get the best candidate.
So that's that. Gentlemen, I really would want us to continue with that. I really would want us to continue with that. But then again, there's something that we've been discussing here about politics and political alignments. But on page 10 of the Standard, and I'd challenge you, gentlemen, to have a copy of today's Standard. See the big interview there. Former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga seemingly saying that the race rather in 2022 is going to be between William Ruto and Raila Odinga, and according to him, and he's an opinion shaper by his own right, as of now he says William Ruto will beat Raila. I want to hear your thoughts on that, former Deputy Speaker.
I mean, I said it myself, a straight race between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. I'm inclined to believe that William Ruto is going to win that. I mean, that I don't doubt even for a moment.
Okay.
But let me tell you, you know, I don't like the way Kenyans and even the political class itself sees political entertainment and name callings as the epitome of political maturity and political standing. You look at somebody like Mudavadi. You watch Mudavadi give a speech on anything and everything in this country. For God's sake, the fact that he doesn't call names, and you see the economics in that speech. You see the kind of problems we have in this country, which is more than anything else, economy, and the manner in which this man is able. This is the way you can sort out problems here. This is the way to grow the economy. And then people don't see anything substantive in that, because he's not calling names and he's not making people laugh. Then somebody else comes there and calls names, and then that's the hero now. You know, and that's exactly how we got to where we are, as Gikuru puts it. Look at the people we elected as governors. People with questionable characters. People who their backgrounds are known, convicts and other people. And then we proceeded on people who went and got fake papers and degrees and the rest of it. We are now suffering the consequences. We are now suffering that powerful consequences. In all those counties, nothing has been done. Nothing for 10 good years. What you call devolution has been lost, and lost for good. So we need to begin taking serious people seriously. And serious people are ones who have the knowledge, who have the academic credentials, who have the experience, the expertise. There's one thing I can tell you. I was in the 7th Parliament, which was immediately out of the first multi-party election in this country when Section 2A was repealed. And if we did not have Mudavadi in there, today our shilling would be transacting at 400, 500 shillings to the dollar. The man did something that I think he needs to write a book about, because I was there in that parliament. And I was privy to all that he was doing. And until we got where we are, until we recovered, the economy recovered progressively and slowly until it reached where it reached then. And then, of course, Kibaki's time was equally very good. But then look at what happened in the last 10 years, or close to 10 years, 9 years now. We've gone to hell again. When Kibaki left here, our shilling was transacting, the dollar was transacting at less than 80 shillings to the dollar. Today it is 113, 114. Progress will go into 115. That is already almost a 50% loss in our value in terms of economic wealth. So these are the kind of things, and of 1% or 2% in the value of your currency itself means a lot. And we're not an industrial country that says that we want to make our products more affordable, and we are competing with China does. So I want people to understand that the inspiration does not come from entertaining people or abusing people or calling names. And this is an educated nation. For God's sake, let us use that education to inform us on how we make choices when it comes to politics, and how we value and rate what they call eminent Kenyans for what they are.
Sawa. Thank you very much for that. Bonadiji, do you think it's game over, game shot?
You know,
very briefly,
what the CJ Emeritus Will Mutunga has stated in that opinion, he simply put it down in writing what I've always said. That's what I've been saying all through. This is a two-race horse. It's Raila Odinga and versus William Ruto. And I share his opinion, and I think I think it's right. But let me add something little here.
Very quickly.
Let me also agree with Gakuru. I will not say this the first time.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, let me agree with him that the sole purpose of a political party is to produce a candidate that will win an election. So democratic nominations is not a prerequisite. It's not compulsory. In fact, in most developed countries, consensus and caucusing is very important. And also the question of funding. You know, you can have a very popular candidate who can go and get democratically elected for third party. But if he's going to face a very liquid candidate, one who has enough money to run campaigns, you are going to lose. So the party will be justified to look for other considerations. The party will be justified to consider other considerations in identifying a candidate who will win. Okay. Remember, parties exist. Parties exist for one purpose: to produce a candidate who will win an election.
Okay.
A democratic nomination is never a prerequisite.
Okay, so I want us to wind up because we are running out of time.
There's just one rider. I don't agree.
Less than a minute. Less than a minute.
Yeah. I don't agree with Willie Mutunga to the extent that this is a two-horse race. No, it is Willie is my very good friend. Seriously, a brother. I call him a brother.
Okay.
But this is not a two-horse race.
Okay.
It's a pity if at the level of our own highest intellectual standings we are unable to see the issues here.
Okay.
To that whereby we think that this is just because of those populism and the resources that are at our disposal. This is a three-horse race, but in the event, in the unlikely event that this race is going
who is the third horse?
Just a moment.
Gentlemen, sadly we are running out of time. Deputy Speaker, sorry, we are running out of time, and I want the SG to respond before we wind up.
Let me just finish. Yeah.
Okay.
In the unlikely event that this is a race between Raila and Ruto, then of course it's a fait accompli. Ruto will win.
Okay.
But this is three-horse race, and the other horse is Oka. And watch Oka here. Watch this dark horse.
So, Bwana SG, as you wrap up, less than a minute.
You see, you can clearly see why former CJ, or rather emeritus Dr. Mutunga, would never have made it in politics. Because you can see his analysis of politics wouldn't have taken him very far in politics. Why am I saying this? You see, if you're a former Chief Justice, and I actually had somebody, I don't know whether it's Mother Karua, cautioning him, why don't you sit back at home, enjoy the huge retirement perks that Kenyans are paying you? Why do you think that your opinion matters?
He's a Kenyan.
Yes, but not misguided opinion then. Give the right opinion.
Okay.
You can see this is somebody who is probably hired by some political quarters, or he leans towards some political quarters. And these are attempts of trying to prepare Kenyans to reject a defeat. This is very dangerous. It's like he's trying to shape some part of the political divide so that they will reject the outcome of the elections. This must be stopped.
Thank you very much.
You must stop.
You're
former CJ, for goodness sake. You know, you should be a unifying figure, not trying to participate in a way of dividing Kenyans.
Okay, sawa. Thank you very much, Bwana SG Simon Gekuru, the Secretary General of ANC.
Analysis.
Farah Maalim, former Deputy